life isn't what I see on the news.
It's not a magazine ad.
Or a music video.
My life is unique. I am learning who I am.
Where I stand.
How I fit in.
Real life is bigger than fantasy.
This is real life teens.
In our society today, many people think that being overweight is an appearance issue. But being overweight is more than that. It is also a medical concern because it can seriously affect a person's health.
A lot of the stuff that we learn in high school is valuable, and a lot of the stuff isn't really.
I do think it has to do with what you eat, but I think it goes deeper than that. I think it has to do with what you learn as a child.
Like, they don't think about it. Like, I used to, like, I'm not, like, exactly, like, thin, but I used to eat a lot more than I do now.
We don't have a cooking class at this school. That would be a lot more, you know.
This is real life teens.
Health is something that we only have a semester of, but we have, 4 years of algebra, and I don't use algebra, and I use health, so.
The health problems that stem from being overweight go way beyond the ones we usually hear about, like diabetes and heart disease. But being overweight can also affect a person's joints, breathing, sleep, mood, and energy levels. So being overweight can impact a person's entire quality of life.
Personally, I think it's mostly the parents than it is about the education, because the school can only go so far before you, to make you do stuff and teach you what to eat. You go home, they teach you how to eat, but you can go home and your parents have bought you all sorts of junk food.
Probably the parents at home, they don't put enough time in making healthy dinners. It's just easier to go out.
But when they get hungry, they start to snack on sugar, things that have sugar in them.
Eat like the basic food groups, because if you eat like all the junk food, all you are is just making more fat for yourself.
It's just that my parents are the ones that taught me everything, and now I'm eating healthy and I feel better about myself.
And kids learn at school to eat healthy, kind of, and then they go home, they're like, oh, Mom, look what I found. They're like, well, I already made this, so eat this instead. And it's just, parents don't want to, you know, take the time and learn what their kids are also learning.
Obesity tends to run in families. Some people have a genetic tendency to gain weight more easily than others.
I just think the schools and parents should probably connect more with each other, and they should, schools should probably keep a longer track of, you know, healthy education and make it so where you have to go home and make a meal that's healthy, and so it teaches the parents also, you know, get your greens, get your carbs and whatever all mixed in, and it'll also teach the kids when going out for lunch with friends to pick healthier choices.
Bigger portions of food and less active lifestyles are all contributing to the obesity epidemic.
A lot of it does deal with genetics. There's a thing known as set point, where like basically your body stabilizes itself at a certain weight, and even if you lose weight, your body will go back to that weight originally, or even if you gain weight, you'll lose that weight back and go back to that point, because that's where your body is most stable at.
Obesity is bad news for both the body and mind. Not only can it make a person feel tired and uncomfortable, carrying extra weight puts added stress on the body, especially the bones and the joints of the legs.
I really believe that obese people get depressed, and in their depression, that's when they eat more to sustain their depression.
At first, it's about the food. Like, they'll just eat, and then then when the change happens, then it kind of becomes more kind of personal.
Whatever they want, because they'll look at it as I'm fat already, or I'm big, I'm obese, and what's the matter? I'm only going to get bigger, and it doesn't really matter to me.
I think that the media also, it's like if you look at commercials, it's like every all food commercials. I hate those commercials. It's like the most like disgusting commercials. They have like sloppy Joe like running down your lip and everything. But I think that so much of what people do is based off of media. And it's like if you can advertise something that looks good, people are gonna want to go and eat it. And I think especially with little kids, like 7 or 8 year olds.
I've been in contact with people who have troubles with eating disorders. I mean, it's mostly girls, because you know, in this society, I mean, girls are always pressured to be thin.
But I used to eat a lot more than I do now, and then it's like my mom and I just kind of like had a different train of thought, and we started eating more healthy. and it's like it really helps. I think that it's like just educating kids about that would help a whole bunch more.
Most girls think that they're supposed to be skinny and look beautiful, or how the media thinks you're supposed to look.
Someone obese, as I would say, would have to be like majorly overweight, of not to where it's like, oh, that girl's fat or that guy's fat, like by society, because I think society has it wrong how weight should be, but is if it's endangering their health, if they're like having diabetes, or if, you know, they can't walk properly, or they need assistance with their health, that's when someone's obese.
No, I don't really agree that people are pressured into, like, it's not because they're pressured. Like, people aren't like, hey, come on, eat this cheeseburger.
Bodies store the extra calories as fat. A couple of extra pounds of extra body fat are not a health risk for most people. But when people keep up a pattern of eating more calories than they burn, more and more fat builds up in their bodies. Eventually, the body gets to a point where the amount of body fat can have a negative effect on a person's health. Doctors use the terms overweight or obese to describe when someone is at their greatest risk of developing weight-related health problems. More people are overweight today than ever before.
And it's a way of dealing with pain. And a lot of that has to do with self-esteem. You know, I have a sister who all her life has been overweight, and she's finally thin at age 56. And once I asked her, well, how is it being thin? And she said, my life isn't any better because I've still got to deal with me.
1/3 of all kids between the ages of 2 and 19 are overweight or obese. So younger people are now developing health problems that used to affect only adults.
And what your parents or family members teach you what to eat, because some people, just to give you something quick to go, they'll give you like a bag of chips or soda, and it's just something that you learn as a child. But I think if you teach someone, start teaching them to eat healthy at a younger age, it'll help improve and lower the obesity rate.
As they get older, kids and teens who are overweight are more likely to develop diabetes and heart disease.
I'm a lifeguard out at a water park where there's a lot of younger kids, and probably between half and 3/4 of the kids that come to that water park are really big kids, and they're like 7 and 8. It's really pretty sad. I don't really know what caused it. It might be like the food, the eating like habits that they're already forming from their parents or society or whatever it is.
I'm a very active person, and I'll go over to their house and they're like, no, my favorite show's on. It's just like go outside and run or something. And they try diets, but they don't work. But what's the saddest thing for me is I know this 4-year-old who weighs almost as much as I do.
Definitely portion sizes, because when you go to a restaurant, you'll buy something if you're alone or if you're with your sister, and it's like enough for maybe 4 people.
It's just a different culture. It's a culture that's feeding into this larger person, more just heavier people just all around us.
And it's really sad because their parents are just like, you know, I want them to be happy, so if they want to eat that food, let them eat it. And it's, no, take them outside, take them on a walk, take them on a play. And most of the time the parents just are too lazy, they're too tired from working.
But I have a feeling it's also just lack of physical anything. I mean, it's kind of like a TV culture where my dad was telling me about this, is when he was a kid, kids would go out in the street and just play sports all day from sunup to sundown and whenever they could. And now you sit online or on our couch playing Xbox.
And I just think it's really sad. And whenever I'm around, I always try to say, oh, you can't, you know, eat this instead. So she'll grab a chocolate bar. It's like, no, eat an apple. And they're just education. And I remember, I mean, just going through high school, you learn more about sex and AIDS and stuff. And they only talk for like a week about your food triangle pyramid thing, and then after that it's all about, oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And it's like, well, you should talk more about your food triangle. And it's just, I think, lack of education and physical activities.
Although genes strongly influence body type and size, the environment also plays a role. People today may be gaining weight because of unhealthy food choices, like fast food, high-calorie, low-nutrient snacks and beverages.
Well, it kind of leads into, like, I don't know, people get comfort from eating, but it starts out with like what they eat. but it might lead to something else.
Some people turn to food for emotional reasons when they feel upset, anxious, sad, stressed out, or bored.
And it's kind of ridiculous because when you think about it, we have all these to-go boxes, and in different countries you can just go and it'll be enough for one person. And it's ridiculous when you just like, they expect it for one person, and that's why people are becoming obese, because they want to clean off their plate and they don't realize that they're ruining themselves.
The health problems that affect overweight teens include excess weight on growing bones can lead to this bone deformity of the lower legs. Arthritis, wear and tear on the joints from carrying extra weight can cause this painful joint problem at a young age. Obesity is associated with breathing problems that can make it harder to keep up with friends, play sports, walk upstairs, or just walk from class to class.
Sometimes it has to do with being depressed, but not with everybody.
One could get over obesity by just having a good sense of family and friendship. Like, if you have a good support system around you, you can get through it. And like I said, I really believe that.
I think it's more of a problem as you get older, because the older you get, the busier you become as well, so you have less time to eat.
People become obese because they're either really saddened or hurt or damaged, and they indulge in food to try to heal what they feel. So if you just have great family around you and great friends, you can really get through it and get healthy.
Sleep apnea. This is a condition where a person temporarily stops breathing during sleep. It is a serious problem for many overweight kids and adults. Not only does it interrupt sleep, sleep apnea can leave people feeling tired and affect their ability to concentrate and learn.
Stop somewhere and pick something healthy, you probably just go through drive-thrus. But yeah, I just think it has to do with how busy you are too.
Okay, I'm from another country, and I see like American people, like the food, they buy a lot of like huge portions of everything, like she said, and like healthy food is so much more expensive than like the other food here. I think it's ridiculous why the government should step in and say, you know what, this is crazy, this is madness. It's like a circle, it just gets bigger and bigger because people just get addicted to this food they buy all the time because they can't afford healthy food.
Fast food, I mean, everything you could supersize or get bigger these days. I mean, you could just go to the store and it's easier to go spend 99 cents on a cheeseburger, but a salad's like $5. So it's kind of hard when the fast food industry is pushing greasy foods towards you for cheaper money.
And why can't the government do anything? And why do we put so much sugar in the food? Why don't the government say it's not allowed to be more than 10% sugar in the food? Why don't the government do anything with it?
People may also experience negative comments and hurtful teasing about the way they look from classmates and others.
Because to see like everything just go back to the government because people can't work anymore, people have disabilities, and it costs more for the government to take care of these people.
Some people believe they need to change how they look or act to feel good about themselves. But sometimes, all you need to do is to change the way you see your body and how you think about yourself. By focusing on the good things you do and the positive aspects of your life, you can change how you feel about yourself.
I was learning in school, actually I learned this in history, and they were saying that we have enough food in the United States to feed everybody around the world, so nobody would be able to go hungry. And I thought that was kind of amazing because all the food we waste in the United States, and it's pretty outrageous.